Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Elevate Your Life podcast. My name is Paul Croto, and I'm here with Cheryl Morley.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm like, is it morning? Is it afternoon?
Yeah, what time of day is it?
Oh my gosh, what day is it? What year is it? I've got lots of questions already, Paul.
Well, the big question, Cheryl, is what episode is it?
Well, that's a good question, and it is 79.
79, that's right, yeah.
That's
And so we got and if you want to get the notes to this, to all of our podcasts and to this podcast, just go to, there's a link underneath here, or you can just go to elevateyourlife.com, fill out the form, and we will email you the notes to these classes. But Cheryl, today we have an awesome, so it's Thursday, doing leadership Thursday. I love Thursdays in our leadership training. And if you've missed any of the podcasts we've done in the past, I mean, they're just gold. I know it's a little biased coming from me, but Cheryl, back me up on that. I mean, how good are our leadership podcasts?
Oh, well, listen. Listen, Paul,
there ain't nothing like it.
No, there is not anything like it. And I think it's so exciting because it has become one of my favorite topics. So I love to talk about it. I love to learn and to grow every day. And, really study leadership. I love it. It's been so much fun.
Yeah. Well, to set the stage for that, you came from a place where you thought leaders were born. Oh, that person was born a leader. That person's a leader. That person's a leader. I'm not a leader, or wherever I am, that's where I am.
That's right. Either you are or you aren't.
Yeah.
That was it. I didn't think there was any way. And now I think it's funny because what did I just think that a professional athlete was born a professional athlete? Yeah. Like what?
I knew how to swing that racket and win from birth. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's great. That's just, I love that. I love that whole idea, but it's just not the case, is it?
No. I used to hear all those people say, it just takes a lot of hard work. I'm like, give me something more specific, and as I've gone through life, I realized that there is nothing more specific than that. You just have to really put the time and effort in to do it, and to become successful and become a better leader. Right. But today we're going to go over the heart of leadership, Cheryl. And
wait, I want to talk about that a minute.
Okay.
Because I think this is interesting because John talks about how he heard somebody say that if you study something 1 hour a day for 5 years, you become an expert.
Yep. Earl Nightingale. Yep.
Yeah. So I love that. I love that whole idea. Now, come to find out, it's just so you can grow enough to realize that you're never done learning.
You don't know anything. Yeah.
And but I love that. I love that whole idea of at least having something to start with at first, because I think that a lot of times we get into this thing of, oh, it's too hard, or it's too vague, or I'm not sure what to do, or, maybe I could do that, or maybe I could do this, or, and so I think that by having that, hey, listen, 1 hour a day for 5 years is what you need to do. And I think that Earl Nightingale knew what would happen, right? It's not that you stop, right? But you grow enough to realize that that's not the case. And so then you stop asking, am I good enough? Am I done? Is it over? Am I through? Right. And so I love that. I love that whole idea.
Yeah. We're going to talk about that and how that increases your capacity to learn, which is really the key. But Cheryl, over the past, I've known you for 6 years now, and I've seen, I know you do an hour or more of personal growth every single day, and you just really shows. I mean, I don't know how much it's hard to see it in yourself over the years, but I know everybody that I talk to and we know is just like, Cheryl's like a new person. She's unbelievable. But it's, it was 6 years of commitment, doing that hour a day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
It adds up for sure.
It's the decision and the commitment, right? It's those two things hand in hand that make the difference.
Yeah. You think, let's be honest, missing your hour today is no big deal. You won't notice any difference. But when you stack those up over years, 365 times 5, it's just unbelievable how much you can lift your own lid. And then by doing that, by growing that much, you can contribute to others in such a significant way, which is what our whole topic is about today. So the heart of leadership is to serve others, not ourselves. It's like, well, I don't know if I like that or not. No, I'm just joking. We absolutely are here to contribute and to serve others. And this is a great lesson we have here planned. And so we're going to go over the 5 things that will help you serve others better. And there's nothing better than number 1, because this is our quote. This is what we live by. This is what Elevate Your Life's all about. This is what Find a Fabulous is all about. It's this one quote from Zig.
Right. It's the golden rule, isn't it? So it's, you can have everything in life that you want if you will just help other people get what they want. And I remember the first time I ever heard that, I was like, oh my gosh, that is like so incredible. Yeah. Because that's easy. So now you know how you get everything you want in life. Now we've got the special secret answer to everything you want in life, right? And we all want something, right? We all want happiness. We all want something more. We all have goals. We all want to achieve more, right? But in doing that, it has to be, which this is amazing to me, it has to be by helping other people get what they want.
Yeah. Yep. Right? And again, Cheryl and I have asked ourselves, what do other people want? I mean, that's the first thing I think of when I hear this quote. And like you said, happier is number 1 answer. I want to be happier. Like, not that I'm not happy already, but I want to be happier. You know, that's the kind of people we meet. And
everybody does.
Even you told me, Cheryl, that one of your big ahas was that everyone wants to be fabulous. Everyone wants to grow.
Right.
You know, I'm thinking, well, some people do, some people don't, but you're like, no, everybody wants to grow. Everyone wants to get better.
They do, but then it gets into this whole idea of, are they willing to do what it takes right now? Right.
And the self-confidence part comes in, you know, like they do want to, but they don't think I'm not the kind of person that can be fabulous.
Yeah. Or I don't know what to do to be fabulous. And that's what I love, that we've kind of broken everything down. We have 8 different ways that you can do that, 8 different areas of our lives that we really work on, you know, and I love it, Paul, that the number 1 thing that we start with a lot of the times, or most of the time, I want to start with it all of the time, is health and wellness, right? Yeah. Like the health side of it.
Yeah, people want to be healthier. I mean, you're healthier, you're happier.
Oh, absolutely. I really agree with that.
So absolutely. And they want to look good too, Cheryl. They want to look like you.
Well, that's, I don't know about that, Paul. I don't know about that, but that's nice, right? I mean, that's exactly right. And I don't think you can feel happy if you are sick and hurting.
Oh,
right.
Listen, we've both been there, you know, we you know, out and it just, you know, I know it's all about state, but I just, listen, if I'm sick, there is no state. The only state I'm in is
the state of
the state of being sick. Yeah.
The state of bed. Yeah. Right. It's the laying down and just laying there, you know, right. But I think that's absolutely right. And it's with pain too. I mean, any kind of pain, right? Any kind of pain. So I love that we have like some specific things that people can do to elevate their life and become, you know, and go from fine to fabulous.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's another thing, Cheryl, that people can do to help serve others better?
Gosh, so another thing is, well, you have to believe in people and their potential, right? I mean, I think that's super important.
Yeah, and we have a whole podcast coming up next Tuesday on potential. And I love this word, and everything that Cheryl and I do is to help you reach your true potential, you know, but it's believing in people. And I can honestly say, Cheryl, both of us really believe in people more than they believe in themselves. I mean, we've had so many people contact us saying, you know, when I met you, I really didn't believe in myself, but because you believed in me, over time, I started believing in myself. Sure. Because your belief ran, you know, but you believed in them and you saw the potential in them, even if they couldn't see it.
Right. Absolutely. And, you know, and I think we've all had mentors that have done that for us. That absolutely is what happened to me, right? When I was, you know, working at Taco Bell and met Dr. Wallach, and he, you know, Cheryl, you know, believe, you know, you've got to believe in yourself. And, you know, it's, he believed in me, and he believed in my potential and what I could do before I even saw it in myself. So I think that that's another thing, Paul, that we have become, or it has become very important to us to really be able to see that potential in other people and be there for them as they, walk that, or as they're on this journey of gaining that self-confidence and
Yeah.
becoming able to see that potential in themselves.
Yeah. And women can feel it from you. You know, they really know that you can see the potential in them. And that's the great attribute that you have for sure, Cheryl. What else can we do to help serve other people better?
Well, we definitely do have to see things from their perspective.
Interesting.
That is interesting, because a lot of times that's hard for me because I see things from my perspective.
Right.
Right? I mean, we all do, but to become aware that, hey, listen, you've got to see it from their perspective so that you know the trials and the tribulations that they're going through.
Yeah. Yep. I always, when I meet a new person, especially in the health field, meet with them for 15, 20 minutes. I just want to get to know them. I want to know where they're coming from, their perspective on life, the things they've been through, because there's just no way I feel like I can help them unless I know everything about them first and really get to know them. So that's a huge one. Number 4.
Number 4 is I work to create an environment of encouragement. Now, this might be my favorite one. Paul.
I know you love the community thing and encouraging women and
I love it. You know
creating
what?
that environment.
And I'll tell you something that's interesting. Both of my kids play sports, and they think that I'm too encouraging. They think I'm too encouraging. And that kind of makes me laugh. And I've noticed that, I always like to say, good job. Oh my gosh, that was so awesome. Now, the reason why I say that is because to me, even if you're trying at anything, that's a good job. You're out in the arena, you're doing it, you're participating in life.
Absolutely.
But a lot of people are sitting on the sidelines doing nothing. So to me, it's a good job. But let me tell you, Paul, my kids do not like that. Mom, I just did this. That's not a good job. Mom, why are you saying good job when I hit the ball out? Mom, right? And so I've kind of had to realize that. But for me, it's just so important to be there for people, to let them know that there's somebody there that has their back.
Absolutely. And we just talked a little bit earlier about the main thing people want, main thing we want is to be happy. But our minds, this is a key point. Our minds are not built to think about happiness. They're built to think about survival. So survival is always about looking out and seeing what potential problems are out there. So many people have just, we talk about living life by default or by design. And too many people have picked living by default, which means they're following their mind and their mind is looking for what's wrong. So they're in this environment now because so many people are doing the same exact thing. They're in this environment of always looking for what's wrong. And it's all about, pointing things out. And it's the opposite of encouragement, whatever, I guess, which is putting people down, but it's horrible, so I can see why it's hard for them to be around you and to hear that from you because they're around kids and other people that just are always pointing out what's wrong, not what's right.
Right. I think so. I think so. And
that's
and
why you're mom of the year, though.
Well, I don't know, but I do think it's so much more important to have those encouraging words, even if they don't like it.
Yep. Oh, 1,000%. It will rub off on them. Eventually they'll, because when you're in a bad place, you're just like, no. But everything you say means a lot and will show up down the road. The last one I really love, Cheryl, it's switching from a ladder climber to a ladder builder. So Cheryl and I, we don't focus on climbing the ladder. Oh, we got to move up in rank. We got to do this or that or that. We're looking to build ladders for other people, equip people so that you can move from fine to fabulous. You can elevate your life.
Yeah.
So, and we know this is the way the world works, that universe works. If we build ladders for people and help them get what they want, what does Zig say? Give people what they want. You just accidentally, as a byproduct, get what you want. So I love the way that works, Cheryl. It's just a fantastic concept. I really hope everybody can grasp that.
Yeah, it's interesting because how do you become a ladder builder and not a ladder climber. I've been thinking a lot about this lately, and it's all about personal growth, right? I mean, if you get, I love the whole idea that, hey, look, if you're building your ladder and you've got one rung, what are you, the people that you're helping or that you're helping elevate or helping move from fine to fabulous, if you're not going to be able to help them climb the ladder very well, right? So you've really got to make sure that you're doing that personal growth and becoming becoming the person that can have a nice ladder for them to, for them to climb.
Yeah. Yeah. But Cheryl and I have been removed from corporate America for 30 years or so. So we're kind of out of touch with all of that. And that is a thing to celebrate. But we work with people in corporate America all day long. And it just, when I think of climbing the ladder, I think of corporate America. It's all about me, climbing the ladder, pushing people down the ladder, so they don't catch you. I mean, it's cutthroat. It's frankly, it's horrible. Like, I think the worst or the biggest fear that you and I have is having to work in corporate America.
Oh,
I mean,
I can't
brutal.
even imagine.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even imagine it. Not only that, but I think of all these young kids that are in college and like really looking towards the future, and that they aren't being taught, or they can't grasp, or they just haven't had, I guess, the opportunity to look at some other ways to do things, right?
Yeah.
The way that we chose, the opportunity that was given, so freely given to us. And I want to be that person. I want to be the person that introduces them to this idea of, being an entrepreneur and working for yourself, and not, when I think of ladder climbing, oh my gosh, I think of like clawing and scratching and pulling hair and knocking a person off because you need the next rung in the ladder and someone's already there, and two people can't be on the same rung, so you're throwing them off to get yourself. Oh my gosh, it just.
And you're always looking up at somebody up on the ladder above you that you're trying to catch.
There's nothing
that's
good
never
about
a good
that,
view.
Paul. Nothing good about that. Nothing good about that, brother.
Never a good view. No. This is really what this podcast is all about, though. It's going and switching from that mindset of I'm climbing the ladder for me, and understanding that the real way to climb a ladder is to go serve others.
Yeah.
And as you help them climb their ladder, like as Zig says, you can have everything you want in life. Yeah. So you just got to switch that thinking. And once you do that, your whole life will change.
Right.
So let's ask some good questions, Cheryl. I love questions. So what are some powerful questions we can do to help serve others better?
Yeah. And I just love the whole idea of just becoming aware of these things, right? So the first great question is, what can I do for people to help them succeed?
Wow.
Yeah. What can you do to help others succeed? And Paul, I'm so grateful that, we thought about this a couple of years ago, and now we're, well on our way with our health coaching business, and it just really has taken off. And I'm just so grateful. I mean, we get people, telling us every day, thank you so much. So we so appreciate, all that you've done, putting this together and helping us become certified health coaches. And I love it because there's nothing that makes me feel better than that. Not one thing.
Yeah. I don't, what makes me feel so bad is that we only thought of it 2 years ago. I mean, if you ask, hopefully you're younger right now and you're hearing this podcast.
Yes.
And if you can ask yourself, what can I do for people to help them succeed?
Yeah.
Cheryl and I waited too long to ask that question, in my opinion. I mean, or it's never too long, everything happens in God's timetable, but you know what I mean, Cheryl. It's just, man, if we would have thought of this 10, 20 years ago, I mean, where would we be now? So, but the best day to plant a tree is 25 years ago. The second best day is today. So it's a great question to ask. And once you do that, your whole life's going to change and new ideas going to come in your mind. Things you thought were important before aren't important at all anymore. Your list of what's important completely changes.
Right. Absolutely. So number 2, Paul, and let me tell you, I love this one. It really resonates with me. So here's another great question to ask. What do people need from me daily that they have not asked for. And let me tell you why that resonates with me. Because I think a lot of us, definitely including myself, I wouldn't ask for help if it was the absolute last thing
you
on
were
earth that
starving
I had to
and
do
broke.
to
Yeah.
save myself, right? I would never do it. Like, and the crazy thing is I used to wear that as a badge of honor. Like,
Right.
I've never asked anyone for
Well,
help.
how many people do that? I mean, there's a
I've
lot of
never
people do
asked anyone for money. I have never done this, or I've never, I've never, because I'm so strong and I'm so this. And that is so, I mean, that drives me crazy. That's not
Yeah.
even true. That's not even it. That's, to me, it's such a, oh my gosh, it's a terrible way to be thinking, because I really believe that we're here to help each other. We're here to go through, be on this journey together, to help each other, to support each other, to do what we can for others, right? But don't forget, no one's asking for anything. Like, nobody wants to ask for help because it looks weak. Nobody wants to ask. So we need to be one step ahead and saying, hey, what can I do for people? What can I do for others, Paul? And I think that we did a great job in figuring out what we could do to help people, that we're sharing this journey with.
Yeah. I mean, we do, and we do it on a daily basis, because once we figure out what they need that they're not asking for, and get that fixed, there's the next thing that we need to move on to. And there's, it's an endless thing.
Sure. Absolutely.
But years ago, when I wasn't as good of a leader as I am now, I used to always hate this, because I'd be like, well, why didn't you just tell me about that, or ask, why didn't you bring it up? Why didn't you bring that up before? I would get upset at people for that. But as you become a better leader, you have to anticipate what the problems are and what people like. One of the things they're like, what do you think? I'm a mind reader or something? How am I supposed to know that that's a problem? But that's, if you're a good leader, you would know that that's a problem, and that you need to. And Cheryl and I are big on equipping people, giving people what they need to succeed, building that ladder for them.
Well, and I think too that it's building that trust with the people that you work with, so that they feel comfortable coming to talk to you about, the way that you could help them, or the things that they need. And I think that's really important too.
Yeah, absolutely. Which ties right into our next question, which is,
people need to feel important, so we need to ask their advice.
Yeah.
And I never really thought of this, Paul, but this is such instead of being a know-it-all, and instead of being like, oh, well, it doesn't matter what so-and-so says, we're just going to do it the way I want to do it, because, on and on and on. It's super important to ask other people's advice. Ask them, what are your thoughts? And it's really the highest compliment that you can give someone, to ask them for their advice on a certain thing or whatever. And believe me, I love to work in a group. So I love to ask other people's advice on things.
Yeah, I do too. And this is what I value probably most about our relationship, is that, I get to come to you, and you didn't know this, Cheryl, but I was complimenting you all along by constantly asking you, so what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? Because we have, we come up with all these podcasts, and we have all these different topics. And it's one thing for me to have ideas, but Cheryl, you add so much to it that, you're the first person I always turn to. So to have that one or two people in your life you can turn to for advice, it's definitely a compliment to you, because you are brilliant. But it's also, a compliment. I want you to look at it as a compliment that I do come to you and ask for advice, and you come to me and ask for advice. We kind of each give each other our 2 cents, and ends up being worth more than that. So yeah, I love this. So get out there and ask for advice from your team and get feedback. What's the final fourth question, Cheryl?
The final and fourth one, or it is the fifth one? No, it's the fourth one. Now this one, Paul, this one is a good one. What can I work on? What can I work on that will help me serve people better?
Yeah, this is great. I'm actually in the, so people, if you have been following the podcast, I am a certified John Maxwell trainer, and I'm in the John Maxwell program. And the big thing, this is the big thing he teaches in the program, is that what's your weaknesses, what you need to work on. So it's not, I mean, it's so easy to, a friend of mine tells me I got about a great book or a great course or a great whatever. So I go buy the book, I go buy the course. So you just kind of like going out and, oh, let's listen to that, listen to that. But it wasn't necessarily what you needed to read or listen to today that was going to move you forward or help you serve others better in whatever business you're in or environment you're in. So to come up with a specific growth plan, what are the things I need to really work on, and just looking at yourself and finding out what the weaknesses are, and then coming up with a plan and going to find resources out there that will help you overcome those weaknesses and make you stronger.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's such a great idea. Just so you're not willy-nilly. I love willy-nilly. So you're not, this and then that and then, whatever. So I love having that plan. And then also, we talked a little bit about this, I think, before, but just really getting to know the people that you're serving.
Yeah.
Getting to know them. The better you know them, the better you're going to be able to serve them. The better you're gonna, and again, I think it's building that trust with them.
Yep.
Right. Because really what we're thinking about is them. We're not like focused on, oh, well, what can I do? How can I do? It's what do they need? What can I do to make myself better so that I'm there and able to serve them?
Yeah. Find out what they need. A lot of times we do that. We ask people, what do you need or what's going on? Or what's the problems you're facing? And then we have to go research. I know like just recently, we've always said that self-confidence we felt was number one problem in people.
Oh,
And, so Cheryl and I spent a lot of time researching it, listening to every podcast, book, everything in the world on self-confidence and coming up with that podcast. So we grab from a lot of different resources out there and kind of put them all into a blender and then come up with our own stuff. But, it's absolutely knowing the people you're working with and their problems. It will help you serve them better and help you develop this personal growth plan for yourself. The next thing, Cheryl, I really, really love what John says in this chapter. And it's that you don't become self-aware by yourself. As a matter of fact, he said self-awareness is a complete fallacy. I mean, it doesn't even exist. We all have blind spots, and people, I don't have any blind spots.
Well, that's a blind spot.
That's a blind spot. That's exactly. Well, that's a blind spot.
Yeah. It is. I think that it's super important to just remember that everything works better with more people involved, like a roundtable situation or something like that. Mentoring, anything like that. You've got to have people you trust, right? To throw things off of and go back and forth with. I just think it makes everything better.
It does. And what, the way I look at this statement here is, I love, of course, we love fan mail coming in and people giving us great compliments and telling us how great we are all the time. But to be honest with you, what I'm looking for is people to tell me, Paul, you're doing this wrong, or you're doing this good, but I wish you would do this different or something. So, I can see my blind spots. I want people to tell me your blind spots. And I have a lot of self-confidence, and I can take constructive criticism really well. And I want more of that. So, and I know, Cheryl, you're a person that can supply that to my life and point out those
I
bad
don't mind.
Cheryl is mine filling that role. Yeah. Paul, you need to work on this. Okay.
Well, no, but I need the same thing, right? I mean, I need someone.
It's too hard to do it for you though, Cheryl, because you're perfect.
Oh, please. Okay. That's such a lie. But thank you, Paul, for
I can't find anything wrong.
raising my self-confidence a little bit more. That's wonderful. My glass is a little fuller today. Thank you.
Well, see, I got one person done then. So the homework assignment is to go compliment 5 people today. So I already got one done here. I got to go get my other 4 in. But yeah, just, there's, you learn something new, everything you learn in this podcast. The key is to put that into action immediately. Like, just don't listen to this, take some action. And the action we want you to take is to go out and compliment 5 people a day. It's going to move you towards becoming a better leader and serving others better. So what's our plus one, Cheryl, from this podcast? The one thing that people are going to walk away from and remember.
Wow, there were so many fantastic things. I think the main thing that I learned from this is that the greatest way to lead people is by serving them.
Yeah.
But there were so many. But that's really, but overall, I think that's really what I learned in this, and what a wonderful lesson it is for all of us to remember that, right? Because, and I always say this, Paul, if you can become aware of what needs to happen and how it needs to happen, then getting into action is so much easier.
Absolutely. And if you were to ask, Cheryl, 100 people, what's the greatest way to lead people? How many people would say by serving them?
Yeah, I don't know, but I will tell you this. I think that if I asked that to my mom, she would say by loving them.
Okay.
And I think it's pretty close.
Okay, so we know your mom's super smart, so there's one person, but my guess is the vast majority would not say by serving other people.
No, because I think that they would come up with other things and not even really think of that one. I really believe that.
Yeah, absolutely. But you look at Jesus, he always, what can I do for you? I work for you.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Right. That's a prime example.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Okay, Cheryl, great podcast. Super awesome. Keep elevating your life, everybody. Keep moving from fine to fabulous. And we will see you on Tuesday with another great mindset, how to elevate your mindset. And we're going to talk about potential, Cheryl, which is very exciting.
That's the best.
Absolutely. All right. Have a great week, everybody.
Bye.